Hey everyone, before I start this crazy story, make sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and drop a comment below. So there I was, sitting in front of John, my husband. He let out this booming roar that filled the room, and in that moment, a sharp pain shot through my belly. I was 6 months pregnant, and that pain hit me hard. I crumpled to the floor, and as I did, my mother-in-law and father-in-law rushed to my aid. But John, he didn't seem fazed at all. "Jessica, are you okay?" he asked, his tone dripping with scorn. He always thought he was the boss in this house, the smartest and most elite. It made me furious, but I was too afraid of being hit again to talk back. Then, out of nowhere, someone said, "Excuse me," and sat down next to John. I watched as this person pulled out a business card and handed it to him. "My name is Jessica. I'm turning 29 this year. I used to work for a telecommunication company after graduating from college, but I quit this summer. I wanted to stay at the company a bit longer, but John had asked me to quit because he said, 'I'll take care of you.' The truth is, there was another reason why I quit my job. I was pregnant with John's child. John and I ended up in what you might call a shotgun wedding. Currently 5 months pregnant, I had to tell my colleagues it was because of the pregnancy and marriage. They were sad to see me go but congratulated me on the marriage and pregnancy. I still feel blessed for having such wonderful colleagues, so I do have some regrets about quitting my job at John's request. John's words always carried an absolute power. If you want to put it nicely, you could say he's full of confidence. If not, well, he's kind of pushy. John graduated from a very prestigious private university and went on to work at the megabank, Bank of America, following an elite path. He was assigned to the sales department where his gift of gab helped him quickly climb the ranks, and right around when we were getting married, he was promoted to head of the sales department. "Lucky for us, I'm excellent. Now the family's secure," he said, as if his promotion was the most natural thing in the world. At that time, I didn't give it much thought. After all, I had no inkling to doubt the man I was about to marry. But that moment, I was still unaware of the kind of person John really was. I met John 2 years ago at a mixer that a friend had arranged. I was 27 then, and as my friends were getting married one after another, I felt a sense of urgency because of my personality. I couldn't take the initiative to talk to men, and I was always shy about love. So when a college friend I hadn't heard from in a long time contacted me, I jumped at the chance. The mixer was with 3 men and 3 women, and John was the oldest of the male group. They all worked at Bank of America, where my friend's childhood friend was employed. When I first heard that all the men were employees at a well-known bank, I was surprised. My 2 friends, who were more interested in money than I was, eagerly questioned the men and squealed with excitement. I felt somewhat out of place and was about to give up, thinking this might be another dead end. But as luck would have it, John seemed to take a liking to me. Hanging back while my 2 friends were in the spotlight, I was surprised when he asked, "Would you like to grab a drink after this?" Since John was also my type, I happily agreed with an enthusiastic yes. So after the group date, we went out a few times, and after a confession from John, we started seeing each other. When I asked John why he hadn't gotten married yet, he'd always say, "Oh, I've been busy with work." He must really love his job. Since I admire men who are dedicated to their work, I didn't mind it at all. While we were dating, John was always considerate, practicing chivalry and always putting me first. "Are you okay? Not tired from walking? Forgot your handkerchief? I have one, use mine. Look, your shoe's rubbing, let me put a band-aid on for you." His perfect gentlemanly behavior had really impressed me. I thought maybe I could spend my life with this man. Even though our relationship had just begun, I was already dreaming about a future with John. Our relationship took a significant step forward about 2 months ago, a year and a half after we started dating. I had been experiencing some unexplained health issues for a while. I had headaches and nausea, And when I went to the doctor, they just said it was probably a cold. I couldn't even work properly. Seeing my condition, John, who I was living with, said, "Jessica, could you be pregnant?" His unexpected words threw me for a loop, but indeed there were signs. I rushed to the pharmacy to buy a pregnancy test, tried it at home, and lo and behold, it indicated that I was indeed pregnant. I can't believe it. "It looks like I'm really pregnant," I said. "See, I told you." "You should go to the doctor," John replied. I sat there trying to keep my cool, but John's voice was louder than usual. I could tell he was excited. There was a baby inside me, our baby. I thought about it as I rubbed my belly. It made me feel an indescribable sense of affection. The next day, I went straight to the OB/GYN. The test confirmed that there was indeed a baby, and I was told I was 3 months pregnant. The doctor said, "It's surprising you didn't notice until now." But since John and I weren't married yet, pregnancy had been the furthest thing from my mind. But now, looking back, I realized that the strange malaise was morning sickness. After leaving the clinic, I told John that the pregnancy was going well. His reaction wasn't what I expected. I thought he would be happier, but his response was surprisingly nonchalant, which caught me off guard. John, does this mean—" "Yeah, let's get married," he said so casually that it was nothing like the proposal I had imagined. But I was thrilled that he suggested we get married, so I was too excited to fall asleep that night. But even then, the change in John had already begun. It was my fault I didn't notice. The next day, before going to work, John said to me, "I want you to quit your job before we get married." What? Quitting my job hadn't crossed my mind. The telecommunications company I worked for was supportive of women taking maternity leave, and everyone came back after their leave. Sure, some people quit when they get married because they're in a long-distance relationship and have to move away to be with their husband, but few people resign just because they're getting married or pregnant. "But I want you to keep working." "It's fine, I'll provide for us," he said. But still, when I hesitated, he let out an exasperated sigh and added, "I'm going to be promoted to sales manager next month, so my salary is going to be way better." Lucky you, I'm so capable. Now our family will be set. What could I say to that? It's true, John is capable, and his promotion must be a recognition of his efforts. Compared to John's salary, mine is indeed just small change. Even if I quit, the three of us could live comfortably. I convinced myself of that. In the end, I submitted my resignation at work, and a month later, I left the company. My colleagues were all sad to see me go, but when I explained the situation, they said, "Can't be helped." You can't go against the man you're going to marry. That's probably what they meant. I thought that from then on, John and I would start our happy days together, thinking about our coming child. But I was naive. It was around this time that I started to notice the changes in John. "Hey, Jessica, where's my dress?" He'd shout so easily. If it were me, they'd have begged me to stay, belittling my capabilities. Even though it was John who wanted me to quit, I'm infuriated by the way he speaks to me. But due to my continued health and lack of energy to stand up to John, all I could do was hang my head. In those moments, seeing that I didn't fight back, John seemed to think he could treat me like a punching bag, venting his work frustrations on me. "Hey, check with your parents for their availability," he said. We hadn't yet greeted each other's parents formally, nor had we had a family meet and greet due to my pregnancy, as gathering multiple times would be difficult. So we thought, why not gather both families together all at once? "All right," John agreed surprisingly readily and immediately contacted his family. I reached out to mine as well, and we found a date that worked for everyone. Eventually, the wedding introduction and family meet and greet were set. "Looking forward to meeting you." "It's nice to meet you." "My name is Jessica." "I hope to get along well with everyone," I said to his parents. They seemed kind and classy, which put me at ease. They were very happy when I handed them the flowers I brought as a gift. In addition to John's parents, There were cousins, uncles, and aunts. My family was also there, sitting politely in the living room. I stood in the kitchen with my mother-in-law, helping to prepare the meal, and she was constantly concerned about my being pregnant. "Are you okay, dear?" John, who had been drinking, came over to where I was sitting. "You shouldn't be sitting down before me, being just a wife," he shouted. A dull pain shot through my 6-month pregnant belly. Ow! I crumpled to the floor in a pain I had never felt before. "Jessica, are you all right? Hey, what are you doing?" My mother-in-law and father-in-law quickly came to my aid, but John, used to defying his parents, seemed unfazed. "In this house, I'm the top dog, you know. I'm the smartest and the elite here." His words were a verbal trading company. "You're familiar with our company, right?" I mean, familiar is an understatement. Smith Core is one of the major clients at our MK Bank. Good to know. It's an honor. I am Jessica's younger brother, a graduate of T University and currently the president of Smith Corporation. I was standing there, observing my brother Kenneth Smith. Smith used to be my last name before I got married. As I glanced at my brother and our parents' faces, I could see a fiery rage burning in his eyes. Kenneth, only 27 years old, had always been groomed by our father to run a business. And after graduating from college and joining Smith Corps, he quickly rose to success. But as my father started taking more time off work, Kenneth's true capabilities began to shine. During a meeting, an unsettling revelation came to light. It turned out that Mike, who had recently been promoted to sales manager, had been involved in some shady dealings. Rumors circulated that he had been bribing sales representatives to manipulate invoice numbers. The room fell silent as Mike visibly panicked, realizing the implications of his actions. While his promotion was supposedly based on hard work, it was now apparent that dishonesty played a significant role. Without hesitation, I immediately fired our incompetent sales manager. But the confrontation didn't end there. We all watched with bated breath as Kenneth unleashed his fury upon Mike, exposing his true character. "You think you're so important, don't you?" Kenneth's voice turned harsh. "Punching your pregnant wife's belly and bossing my sister around. You cheated your way up, but you're nothing but a joke." To everyone's surprise, Kenneth issued a severe punishment. He decided to sever all business ties between Smith Company and MK Bank of America, leaving Mike in a desperate plea for mercy. "Please, anything but that." Mike begged desperately, but Kenneth's anger had reached its peak. With a cold glare, Kenneth replied, "You're apologizing to the wrong person. I have no use for someone who can't even comprehend their mistakes." Mike let out a pathetic whimper, completely caught off guard by the severity of the consequences. As I witnessed this dramatic scene unfold, I couldn't help but feel a mix of shock and sadness. It was hard to believe that Mike, with such wonderful parents, had turned out this way, but it was clear that he had caused irreversible damage. The truth about his misconduct at work came to light, leading to his termination. Moreover, Smith General Commerce, a major client, decided to sever ties with Bank of America MK as Kenneth had declared. Mike's actions had cost him his job and inflicted significant losses upon the company. Despite these repercussions, Mike shamelessly continued to visit my parents' house, begging for forgiveness and promising to do anything to make amends. "I'll find another job. I'll make it work," he would say. However, I couldn't fathom how a part-time job could support me, our baby, and him. His flippant attitude solidified my decision. What he did was unforgivable. Not only did he harass me, but he also jeopardized the company that had generously paid him. With a heavy sigh, I finally spoke up, expressing my doubts about his future prospects. "You think finding a job will solve everything? Who would hire someone like you? It might seem unfair to our child, but it's better not to have such a father figure around. I will ensure our child's happiness. Once the baby grows a bit older, I plan to return to work." Perhaps I'll consider dropping off the little one at daycare. Luckily, a former colleague from my previous job has reached out, offering me the opportunity to come back. I eagerly await the day when I can resume my career, but for now, I'll take each day as it comes, cherishing the time spent with my child.